Welcome to County Magazine, a chance to find out what's new across Fairfax County. I'm Brian Ashby. On this edition, we'll learn about National Preparedness Month with the Department of Emergency Management and Security. We'll take a look inside the county's high-tech emergency operations center, and we'll meet a dog who's working to keep us all safe. Plus, we'll talk about Sickle Cell Disease Awareness Month in Fairfax County. Sickle cell disease is an inherited blood disorder that affects more than 100,000 Americans, mostly of African descent. Each September, the Fairfax County Health Department shines a spotlight on sickle cell disease in the hopes of raising public awareness of this life-threatening illness. Here's more.
Sickle cell disease is an inherited blood disorder affecting an estimated 100,000 Americans, mostly of African descent. During a sickle cell crisis, red blood cells form into a sickle shape, impacting blood flow to organs and tissues. This can cause excruciating pain, infection, low blood count, organ damage, and other serious health problems. It is passed on to children by both parents, each who must carry the sickle cell trait.
There's been tremendous progress made in treating sickle cell disease in the last couple decades. Hydroxyurea, which is revolutionary, it's altered the lives of many of sickle cell anemia patients. Our modern day vaccinations have improved the risk of infection. And of course, there's been tremendous progress in bone marrow transplant.
Gabriella Leach was born with sickle cell disease. She is 7 years old. Today, Gabrielle doesn't remember her visits to the hospital or pain associated with sickle cell because she is one of a small percent of people who have been cured of sickle cell disease after receiving a bone marrow transplant.
Well, I know it's a bad disease and people who have it need somebody to get out of it. Like my sister helped me get out of it.
And even though Brianna was 5, Brianna was very much involved in Gabriella's care because she was really hurt every time her sister had to be hospitalized. And the results came back that Brianna was the closest match. And right off the bat, she's like, yes, mommy, I'll do it. Children's had a good program because even though as parents and for her as a child, she agreed, they brought her in, she had her own team, they had the counseling, the psychologist spoke to her, everybody made sure that this is something she wanted to do and not something that we were forcing or coercing her to do.
I was happy to be a donor for Gabby because, well, I don't know what my life would be like without a little sister. And then getting one and losing it, that's very hard.
Many sickle cell patients are not as fortunate as Gabriella in finding a blood stem cell match. Every 10 minutes in the United States, someone is added to the National Transplant list, and there are not enough donors to help the thousands of people in need of a matching donor. With such long waiting lists, the odds of a sickle cell patient finding a matching blood stem cell donor are even greater.
We only have about 3% of African American are on the registry worldwide, so their chances of finding a match right now are 23%. The reason is because we don't have enough of that ethnic background on the registry.
A greater diversity of donors would potentially increase access to transplantation for everyone. Although organs are not matched according to race or ethnicity, and people of different races frequently match one another, all individuals waiting for an organ transplant have a better chance if there are large numbers of donors from their racial and ethnic background.
So it's important to add people, whether they're a match for somebody with blood cancer or blood disease, they could still be their only cure.
I just see it as result A equals to result B.
And what is result A?
Result A is donating. Result B, she's still here.
I'm so proud of Brianna for stepping up to the plate to donate the bone marrow to Gabriella. Sometimes she feels as though she's the forgotten one because Gabby takes the center stage because she's the one who received the bone marrow. But without giving the bone marrow, Gabby would not have been able to be here today.
So to join the registry, you just have to be in general good health, be willing to donate to anyone in need if called. If they are called to be a donor, 75% of the time now, it's actually done like giving platelets or plasma. So it's called apheresis. We actually give you a shot in your arm called filgrastim a few days before your donation, which is a hormone stimulating drug to actually boost your stem cells from your marrow into your bloodstream. So it's a simpler procedure than it used to be many years ago. And you are put to sleep, and it is actually one stick in the hip.
Gabriella's health right now is excellent. Gabriella's life is happy. Gabriella has no restriction at all. She does swimming, she flips around and climbs around and does everything that a normal 7-year-old child would do. For me, that's amazing.
It's such a joy to be able to give life in such a way. When I say give life, to extend someone's life or be a part of their process of healing. So my appeal to people, to everyone out there, be part of be the match, but you help a life, you transform a life and give meaning to life to someone.
September is also National Preparedness Month. Inspired by the events of September 11th, 2001, this is a time to reflect, and it's also a time to plan for the worst. Joining me to discuss how to prepare your family is Department of Emergency Management and Security Community Engagement Manager, Courtney Arroyo. Courtney, thanks for coming.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Can you tell us a little about National Preparedness Month?
Sure. So the Federal Emergency Management Agency started National Preparedness Month in 2004 as a result of September 11th to really encourage people to remember and prepare.
So what types of disasters should Fairfax County residents prepare for?
So we do have a lot of different disasters that can happen, but our most prevalent ones are flooding, thunderstorms, effects from thunderstorms like tornadoes and wind. We can also see effects of hurricanes, so usually they like to stall out in our region and drop a lot of rain.
So there can be a lot of moving pieces. How does a family begin to develop a plan?
That's a great question. So a couple years ago, we wrote the Community Emergency Response Guide, which is basically the resident's guide to how to prepare for emergencies. In that guide, we have our 5 steps to preparedness, which are make a plan, practice your plan, make a kit, stay informed, and get involved. So we have templates that families can use, and by filling out the templates, you kind of create your emergency plan so that you can practice to make sure it actually works.
That's great. So what kinds of other things does the Department of Emergency Management and Security do for county residents?
Our mission essential function is running the Emergency Operations Center. In the Emergency Operations Center, we activate for different types of emergencies, such as weather, civil unrest. We even do it for regularly planned events like the presidential inauguration. And we are in this room to collaborate and coordinate with all the different county agencies to respond to whatever we're working with.
All right. Well, we'll ask Courtney how we can all prepare in a minute. But first, let's take a look inside the department's high-tech home base, the Emergency Operations Center, where the county comes together to coordinate its response to disasters.
The McConnell Public Safety and Transportation Operations Center, or McConnell PSTOC, is a public safety facility in the heart of Fairfax County. PSTOC is home to multiple agencies, including the Department of Emergency Management and Security, the Department of Public Safety Communications, 911, Virginia State Police, and the Virginia Department of Transportation, who deliver transportation, public safety, and emergency management services, fostering interagency collaboration for a more streamlined county and regional response to day-to-day operations and large-scale events. When Fairfax County suffers a large-scale emergency requiring a more comprehensive response, it calls on the Department of Emergency Management and Security, headquartered in PSTOC at the Emergency Operations Center. We are currently standing in the Emergency Operations Center. When we have a major event that goes outside of what our public safety personnel can manage, our EOC will activate to assist in the response. Our role is not to run the incident. We assist public safety with administration, resources, and personnel. When the EOC is activated, we have several subject matter experts that can come in and fill the seats. We have the tools inside the EOC to communicate and support the incident commanders that are out in the field. With the subject matter experts, we can coordinate, communicate, and cooperate to manage an incident. During a full activation, you may have a packed house with a multitude of agencies coming together to address those response and recovery efforts. This could mean agencies from the county, from the state, potentially even the federal government or the National Guard, as well as community-based organizations. A large-scale emergency response in the EOC has many moving parts to administer the response. It is critical that the Department of Emergency Management and Security administer and maintain a clear operational command structure. You will see different color vests to identify the different positions within the incident command system. These vests identify what group you are working in, who your supervisor is, and what your job title would be when you come into the EOC. A full cadre of subject matter experts and the incident command system are essential to an informed and efficient response. But to keep up to the minute, personnel in the EOC rely on the state-of-the-art technology. In the EOC, we have a video wall and lots of surrounding monitors to display news, maps, live video feed, as well as traffic and the county's helicopter video. The capability of communications here in the EOC is extremely important. The building, and specifically the EOC, gives us the ability and capability of communicating so we can coordinate our responses to best serve our residents. It is the location of key agencies and the interoperability that makes the EOC efficient. Emergency management is about fighting the clock so we can cut back on the time needed to scale up quickly.
So now that we're familiar with all of the emergency response players and the amazing facility that they work in, tell us what ordinary residents can do to prepare.
So first, you're going to want to start by making a plan. And by making a plan, you really want it to be an individual and family exercise where you take into account your whole family. So that includes individuals with disabilities, children, older adults, maybe family members that live alone. So you want to make sure that when you're putting together this plan, you're considering all the different elements of your family. So where are you going to go when there's a tornado? Where are you going to go if you have to evacuate your home? Making sure that you have a contact in the area, but also out of the area in case you need to exchange information and telephone lines are down.
Makes perfect sense. And how do we keep informed when an emergency is happening or before an emergency?
So there's many different ways that people get information, but we do have our county's emergency alerting system called Fairfax Alerts, and it's a free public alerting system that anyone can sign up for. You can add in up to 10 addresses, so you can have not only your home, but your work, your kids' school, and you can get traffic alerts, weather alerts, and emergency alerts for those specific areas. We also have an emergency preparedness newsletter that we send out every month. Along with that, we have a webinar that we do that goes over different topics throughout the year. So residents are really connected and informed throughout the year.
So I know that a big part of preparing is having an emergency preparedness kit, right? What sorts of things should be in those emergency preparedness kits?
Sure, so Fairfax County recommends having a 3 to 5 day emergency supply kit that includes food, water, medication, batteries, flashlights, different contents that you can use in case you were in a power outage. It's also a good idea to put your emergency kit either in a backpack or a rolling suitcase so that you can grab it and go if you need to.
Now, we've been talking about our family members, but what should we do in terms of our pets? Should we be considering them when we plan our emergency disaster kit?
Absolutely. Our pets are part of our families, so we want to make sure that we're prepared for them as well. Making an emergency kit for them includes putting together food, water, medication, and even an information card about your pet so that anyone who's taking care of them during an emergency knows everything about your pet and can fill in that role for you.
Wow, that's a fantastic idea. Courtney, thank you very much. Speaking of pets, some are lovable companions and some also have a job to do. Next up on County Magazine, meet a four-legged member of the Fairfax County Fire and Rescue Department who's as cute as she is talented.
She's the best partner I've had. She is always willing to do whatever I want to do. She's laid back, she's easygoing, no talking back, no complaints. She's invaluable. She can do what no one else can. She's got a niche that she's very good at, and no one else can replace her. By far the best partner I've had. My name is Rich Gunner. I'm a fire investigator with Fairfax County Fire and Rescue, and this is Bee. She's my accelerant detection canine. Bee works within the fire investigation unit. She senses, detects ignitable liquids within a fire scene. So her job is to help us prove or disprove that there was an ignitable liquid used with this fire. Bee came to the department through ATF program, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. The process of training these dogs to do this job is really intense. They are trained to alert to 6 different classifications of ignitable liquids. Training is part of her regular everyday activity because she wants to eat. She is a food reward dog, meaning that the only time she eats is when she works. So she gets 3 cups a day, and in order to give her those 3 cups a day, we have to set up exercises where I will plant ignitable liquid that she's trained to detect on something, whether I do it in the burn building at the academy or I put a drop of something on 8 to 10 different articles of clothes that I've burned, and she has to find an alert, and then she gets a little bit of food. That's her reward for doing her job. It is unique to have a dog like her. We're one of 64 teams in the country out of however many thousands of fire departments there are. It saves our fire investigations unit a lot of time. If we have a house fire and there's not much left of the house, if we believe, suspect, think, or even want to rule out that the fire was incendiary, the only way to do that is to take fire debris samples. If we don't know where to take the samples from, it's a needle in the haystack. Bee's job is to narrow that down. I can bring her through a house scene where the fire has completely leveled the house. There's nothing but burned debris left on the ground. And if she picks up on something, she'll alert, she'll sit, and now we know where to collect our sample from. She's trained on tiki torch oil. You might have a perfectly good reason as to why there's tiki torch oil in your closet in the house that burned, because you camp. However, all over where the couch was, that's something more. She can't tell us whether it was an arson, whether it was a crime. She just tells us, hey, there's something here. You need to figure out why. My regular workday can be pretty busy. The way she is at my feet right now, that's her regular workday. She lays around a lot. If we're not working, she's generally napping. That's what she does. She's a good therapy dog. She's very friendly with people. She wanders the office. People will pet her, play with her a little bit, but this is what she does most of the time. She's with me 24/7. She's always with me. That's at work, that's at home. I have her all the time. So she is an ATF asset. The county sponsors her, pays for everything for her, but she actually is an ATF asset. The minimum is 5 years. Most dogs go 7, some have gone along as 9. The major driving force upon when they retire is their own will. Just like people, they decide they don't want to do it anymore. Right now she's very excited. Tail wags, she gets happy, she gets jumpy. Once she retires, she's still an ATF dog. The ATF offers the handler first dibs if they want to keep her. So yeah, I get to keep her.
Heroin abuse is in our backyard. It affects our children, our families, our friends, and our colleagues. Knowing the warning signs of heroin use can save a family member or a friend's life. Open your eyes to the signs of heroin abuse. There is hope.
Well, that's going to do it for this edition of County Magazine. Thanks for joining me. Don't forget, September is National Preparedness Month, a time to get ready and informed. For up-to-the-minute information, check out the county's emergency information blog and sign up for Fairfax Alerts. And remember, there are countless ways to get involved in your community and make Fairfax County an even better place to live, work, play, and prepare. I'm Brian Ashby. We'll see you next time on County Magazine.